Now I will be taking you through lifestyle modification. This is a very common term which is used by most of the healthcare professionals, and some other people are not aware of what exactly this means. So generally, lifestyle modification will mean a change in your diet, an exercise regime which should be followed, and cessation of smoking and alcohol. Lifestyle management is the cornerstone for the management of many of the chronic diseases and diabetes in particular. It is always better to avoid having these kind of shapes, especially the one on the left side, and try to remain fit as much as possible. Generally, the diet, which comprises of various things like carbohydrates, protein and fat, many are not aware of how much exactly is optimal. 60 to 70% of the diet should be comprised of carbohydrates, 12 to 18% by proteins, and the remaining by fats. Even a small step such as reducing 500 kilocalories a day can help losing 1 kilo of your weight over a period of a week, which is quite substantial. And 500 kilocalories can be lost by even reducing 1 teaspoon of sugar a day. Sugars, these are simple sugars or complex sugars. Simple sugars increase the sugar levels very quickly, whereas complex sugars would increase the sugar levels over a longer period of time. So the simple sugars would increase your insulin levels in the body's response to try and keep the sugars low, and therefore this simple sugar can lead to low sugar over a period of time due to the overproduction of insulin by the pancreas, which in turn could lead to exhaustion of the beta cells of pancreas. The complex sugars, on the other hand, would increase the sugar levels over a period of time, and thereby it would cause a slow increase in insulin level, but one would not be plagued by having frequent episodes of low sugar. Now, the various sugars which are present in the diet would include the carbohydrate, the sugar alcohol, as well as other sugar substitutes, and you have proteins and fats as well. So generally, on taking a meal, you would notice that the carbohydrates would have a rapid digestion depending on the type of carbohydrate, and the conversion to glucose would be almost 100%. Sugar alcohols would have a moderate digestion, and there may be a partial absorption and the form of glucose. Proteins and fats would not be that much instrumental in the formation of glucose in the body. Glycemic index is one value which probably most of you have heard of, but many are not sure of. Glycemic index is an index which is counted with reference to glucose taken as 100. Generally, high GI, the acronym used for glycemic index, means that the index is more than 70, and a moderately high GI would mean 56 to 69, and less than 55 would qualify as low GI food. People respond differently to different GI food. What exactly does a GI index mean? If the GI of a certain food substance is 37, it means that 37% of the carbohydrates in that food will get converted to glucose over a period of 2 hours. So lower the number, lower will be the conversion to glucose. Ultimately, it's the amount of carbohydrates which matter more than the type of carbohydrate. Generally, unprocessed food, high fiber and whole grain food, the diet which used to be the norm about 5 decades ago, were instrumental in keeping a balance in the diet. It is not, however, possible to always survive on a low GI food, because you need a balance between the high, the moderate and the low GI food. Now, to draw your attention to some of the very commonly used things in today's world, you might have definitely come across people who take the carbonated sweetened beverages such as Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. This shows the amount of sugar present in them, which is quite frightening indeed. And as well as some of the smoothies made by two of the leading brands also would give you an idea of what this is all about. However, Even an apple will have sugar. Most of the fruits do have sugar, but it is the quantity of sugar that you consume over a period of time which will be instrumental. Rather than having a full apple which contains 7 cubes of sugar, half an apple would have only less than 1/3 that amount. Vegetables and fruits have almost become a non-entity in today's world, where people rush in for fast food and for highly processed food, which generally is related to non-vegetarian diet. If you probably would include a substantial amount of vegetables and fruits in your diet, that will be very helpful in your management of your diet. The serving size should generally be enough to satisfy one's mind as well as the body. So, the plate normally used is a plate which should be around 6 inches in diameter, and one should take only one helping of the plate, and it should not be a heap full of food either. There are different measurements which are being used in the measurement of food generally. One open handful of food will be the equivalent of 1 or 1.5 cups, and a tight fist will be similar to half to 1 cup of food. A palm size will equal 3 ounces of boneless meal. One whole thumb will be the equivalent of a tablespoon, and half a thumb will be equivalent of half a teaspoon. The US dietary allowances has recommended a plate size which contains which has got about 6 inches in diameter, half of which should include grains and proteins, and the other half should include fruits and vegetables. This is quite difficult to follow, but most of the people would take 2 or 3 such kind of plates to satisfy their hunger, which could all add to the calories. So, this is very important that you try to find out which food would suit you and which would keep your calorie intake at the bare minimum, and it is equally important to do enough physical activity, which I am going to be presenting in the next presentation. Thank you.